The information provided on this show does not, and is not intended to, constitute legal advice. Instead, all information on this show is for general informational purposes only. The information provided is not a substitute for legal advice, and we recommend viewers consult an attorney for specific legal matters.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Condo Craze and HOAs. I'm the host, attorney Eric Glazer, board certified by the Florida Bar in condominium and plan development law. As you see, Karen is not next to me today. Karen has the week off. And today I want to spend a few minutes reflecting on the end of a very eventful year for Florida condominium associations, not so much for HOAs. This is our season finale, by the way. So as 2025 comes to a close, it's fair to say that change continues to be the only real constant in the condo and HOA world. You know, we've seen monthly assessments continue to rise, particularly, like we said last week, in the high-end multi-story condominiums, and that's been really painful for those that live and have bought there, no question about it. And I'm starting to see signs, though, that things may be getting a little better, maybe leveling off, especially again, the larger condominium communities and those that are not currently in the middle of the milestone inspections. Things might be getting better. And here's some good news that I don't say very often. We're hearing that insurance rates may actually be coming down, believe it or not, for a change. And even if it's just modest, that's a welcome surprise here in Florida and long overdue. Hey, Robert, I read an interesting story in the Sun Sentinel this morning too. The governor is really, really serious about doing away with property taxes. It's no joke. There's some fight with the current House of Representatives at the moment, but he wants to do something. You know, he's term limited, and he wants to go out with a bang. He wants to be remembered for something, you know, massive. I think this is going to be it. It looks like this has some momentum behind it. And it's not going to be for those people who own multi-units. It's not going to be for South American investors who have different ownership of units here. It's going to be for those Floridians who have homestead here. That's the way it looks.
That sounds good.
Absolutely. People don't want to be priced out of their house after a number of years. So I get a feeling, and I really believe this, I think it's coming. I really do. You know, in terms of managers and management companies, the number of tasks that they are required to perform for your communities this year, it increased dramatically, and this is not accidental. The Florida legislature has significantly, and I'm talking about significantly, expanded their statutory responsibilities, especially this year, big change this year. And as a result, and we see it already, the cost of professional management has gone up. And frankly, rightfully so. And I don't think that's a trend that's going to go down. I can't see that switching. And again, it's not based on mismanagement. It isn't price gouging. It's their workload, plain and simple. A lot more tasks that they have to do. Let's talk about legal changes that happened over the past year. This year, condominium associations began voting by email. That's a big change, a big shift. Unfortunately, HOAs were left out of that change by the legislature for now, excuse me. But let me talk to HOAs for a second. If you want to allow voting by email in your HOA community, you can do it too. You don't need to wait for the legislature to allow you to do that. All you have to do is amend your governing documents, which would allow for email, and email voting it is. Again, just amend your documents. That might be something that you want to do in the coming year. I think it's a really good thing. Looking ahead to 2026, there's another major issue that board members in condominiums need to be made aware of. Condominium board members may not serve more than 8 consecutive years unless one of two things happen. First, they are approved by an affirmative vote of unit owners representing 2/3 of all votes cast in the election. So let's say you have 99 people voting in the election. 2/3 of that would be 66. 66 people need to be voting for that person, again, who wants to run for more than the 8th year. That's the only way that they can be elected. Or there simply aren't enough eligible candidates to fill that role. So those of you who have really been committed to your association, your condo association, and you've been on the board for, 10, 15, 20 years, some of you, well, guess what? You're going to be forced to take a year off, again, unless 2/3 of the people who voted vote for you, or there aren't enough people running for the board. Maybe you deserve a year off, quite frankly. And here's an important technical point. Only board service occurring after July 1st, 2018 counts. So that's when the term limits counts. You start the count in 2018. That's why this year, 8 years later, 2026, this is when it kicks in. All right, over the last few years, also, it's felt like there's constant change, new laws, new deadlines, new compliance obligations. At time, I know it's been incredibly confusing, especially with reserves. And for many of you, honestly, overwhelming. It's oftentimes very difficult for me to review these statutes and figure out what the hell to do next as well. It's complicated. And as the year draws to a close, my hope is that this Sunday Condo Craze and HOA show has helped out through some of the confusion. If nothing else, I hope me, Karen, and Robert have given you an hour each week to step away from just the crazy news stations that are on 24/7 that never stop, and you're never hearing good things, by the way. And hopefully you come here and you get away from the noise and you learn something useful and maybe even have a laugh along the way. One thing that has not changed for me is how much I enjoy this. I can tell you it's an honor to communicate with you and to meet you and to teach you at our seminars throughout the year. And every Sunday answering your calls is genuinely fun for me. I learn from you just as much as you learn from me. And I can tell you unequivocally, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, that every time that phone rings, it's still a thrill for me. And I'm honored by your phone call. And I really mean this. I can't wait to talk to all of you. So on behalf of Karen, Robert, and myself, we want to wish you and all your families a happy Hanukkah, a very Merry Christmas, and a happy and healthy New Year. We'll be off for the next 2 weeks after today's show, and we look forward to coming back next year and doing an even bigger and better show. Robert always has amazing technical surprises for us, so I don't doubt that it's going to get bigger and better. But for today, let's close the year out with a bang. Keep the calls coming in the whole hour, or drop us a question or comment in the chat box on YouTube. Lots to unpack today, lots to talk about. Call us at 717-GLAZER-8. Again, that's 717-GLAZER-8, 717-452-9378, or drop your questions or comments in the chat box on YouTube. We'll be back right after this.
There are very large management companies, and there are very small management companies. And I think Affinity sits somewhere in the middle of that, where they are big enough to provide you with all of the back of the house services, the accounting, the infrastructure, the support systems, but small enough to be high touch.
We believe at Affinity that we do the 9 to 5 so that you don't have to do that.
Feeling overwhelmed by repairs, renovations, or big construction projects? You weren't meant to do this alone, and you don't have to. At HCMC, we take the stress off your shoulders and guide your community every step of the way. We bring everyone to the table, owners, contractors, architects, engineers, and make sure every penny spent is done responsibly. Led by Sam Hodge, 40-year expert in construction, we manage everything from design to closeout. No more guesswork. Just expert guidance you can trust. Take control of your project today. Visit hodgecmc.com or call 954-805-5235.
Talk about elections. Okay. Welcome back to Condo Craze and HOAs. Keep the calls coming in. 717-452-9378. Again, 717-452-9378. It's our season finale, so if you don't ask today, you're going to have to wait for a couple of weeks. So don't wait to the last minute. How about we go to the board? Let's see. Someone ending in 999 writes in, Tua will be rested for Miami today. Tua's going to be rested for the rest of the season. Miami has made the decision to go with a rookie for the rest of the year, and I think that's a good move. He also writes in, I think Monday is the last day of Hanukkah. Actually, I think tonight's the last night of Hanukkah. That's why we got the menorah lit up behind me every single night. Vidal writes in, already signed up for the February 3rd class at the Broward Convention Center. That's a good segue. I will tell you that all the classes for next year are already up on our website. Right, Rob? CondoCrazeandHOAs.com. You can already sign up. Pretty sure you did that. And yeah, if this guy was able to register, then then everybody else is able to register. We're going to be all over the state again. We're going to be in Broward. We're going to be in West Palm Beach. We're going to be in Orlando. We're going to be, I think, in Dade County. We're going to be in Tampa, I think, twice. So again, this year, education is mandatory. If you don't get certified within 90 days of getting on the board, you are automatically off the board. And, you know, we said before during the opening, it's just getting more complicated and more complicated and more complicated. And I got to tell you, even when I teach the course, Rob, and you've been there, at the end of the course, you know, and I try to teach it in a manner that's simple. That's what I've been told I have a gift doing, you know, trying to take complicated things and make it simple. But I will tell you, even at the end of the seminar, people are walking out looking dazed and confused. So I got to think there's a lot of dazed and confused people with questions today. So if you are dazed and confused, today's the time to ask your question. 717-452-9378. Let's see. Let's keep it going. How do people expect we're going to pay with services with removing property tax? So interesting article. As you know, our property taxes just have gone up and up and up over the years. And what does that mean? At least according to the article, at least what according to the governor thinks, that just gave the local municipalities, at least they thought they had the right to just spend and spend and spend. There was never a tightening of the belt. They just went crazy spending your property taxes. And at least the governor thinks, nope, time to tighten their belt so that we can cut the property tax bill to Floridians, especially those who have lived here a while and have homestead. So let's see if that works out. Logic writes in, sales tax is the only reasonable tax. Well, maybe we'll do that. If they do away with property tax, maybe we're going to have to raise the sales tax by 1%. Maybe it's going to be on hotels. Maybe it's going to be in the people that come to the state for vacation. Don't know. Fred writes in, welcome to the end of the year, Counselor and Karen. Thank you, Fred. I know you're a listener every single week, and we really appreciate it. Renee writes in, so the clock restarts on the 8 years, right? Suppose a board member takes a year off. So if within the last 8 years a board member took a year off, right, then you only start for the year that they came back. So let's say 8 years ago They started, they were on for 4 years. In the 5th year, they took off. And then for the last 3 years they've been on, then you only count the 3 years. This would be year 4. Let's say they stayed on for another 4 years. Then that would be 8. And then the following year, they'd have to take a year off again, unless 2/3 of the people vote for them or there's not enough people interested. Renee also writes in, thank you to both of you for doing the weekly happy holiday shows. Thank you to all. It's actually the 3 of us, Renee. It's all of us. We're all a great team here. How about we go to the phones, Rob?
Yeah, let's go over to the caller is Anna in Hollywood.
Hey, Anna.
Anna.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Anna.
Hi,
Good morning.
Eric.
Good
Yeah.
morning, Anna. How are
Can you
you?
hear me? Yeah, thank you very much. What are you doing, guys? And happy holidays to you.
Thank you.
I have a question. We had a board meeting where they declare that actually was about the discussion of CU1 contract like agreement. And CU1 is a restaurant, which is very like close to our next to our pool deck,
Right.
which is a common area. So the board already discussed and voted to take after 4:30 p.m. seats, put like tables around the pool, not allow us unit owners to be there because the owner of CU1 has to make money, and in order to have a liquor license, he needs more seats. So they decided to take away our like common area. Is this material alteration or?
Yeah, it's interesting.
What should we do?
So a lot of condominiums have restaurants on the property, and that's a whole, you can do a whole show on that by itself, because how's that supposed to work, Robert? A lot of times that restaurant that's there, it only serves the people that actually live in the condominium. It's what's called, the only way they get approval for that is if they agree to what's called ancillary use. What's ancillary use? Ancillary use is an agreement with the local municipality to say, look, we're not going to take in people from outside. We're only going to serve the people that's in the condominium. Well, when you agree to only serve the people in the condominium, right, how do you make money? Pretty difficult to make money. So typically what the condo association does is they actually subsidize the restaurant, right? They make people in the condominium spend, let's say, $200 a month. Right? Everybody got to pay $200 a month, but in exchange for the $200 a month, you get food vouchers or whatever it may be. So therefore, at least we all have the ability to have a restaurant. It's there. It's a wonderful thing that we can sell to people when you want to sell your home. We have a restaurant on the premises. Now, here, this condominium, and by the way, she referred to the unit, to the restaurant as CU1.
This is a condo hotel, not just condo.
Condo hotel, okay. So when you refer to condominium units, it's typically referred to CU, right? CU means commercial unit 1. So here, apparently, the board said, look, starting at 4:30, the pool is closed, or we're going to take seats away from everybody, and we're doing that because so the restaurant could get more seats and maintain the ability to do outdoors. I don't, that's not a reasonable rule or regulation to me. Say at 4:30, you can't use your pool anymore. Do I think it's a material alteration? Yes, it could be a material alteration. But even if it's not considered a material alteration, is it a reasonable rule of the common elements? And I don't think so. Taking away the ability of people to use the pool at 4:30 in the afternoon so that the restaurant could stay open, I don't think it's reasonable. There could be other ways to help the restaurant. So do I think if you challenged it, you have a good shot to win it? Yeah, I do.
So can I contact you so you guys can help us? Because I have a petition. It's already like 40 maybe people sign up that they against this, because board never discussed with us.
Right.
They never let us know. It was no transparency, and just happened that I went to this meeting.
Right.
And nobody knew nothing.
Okay, let me say something about petitions. A lot of times we'll get calls on the show and they'll say, we got petition, all these people are angry. Petitions really don't mean a thing in condominiums. It might, petitions, you can petition the board to say, we want something on the condominium agenda, right? If 20% of the people petition to put something on the agenda, it has to go on the agenda. If 15% of the people petition to have an election monitor at the condominium election, then you have to have a condominium election monitor by the condominium ombudsman's office. But that's it. I can't think of one other thing where a petition means anything. So what you're probably going to have to do is, gather the troops, hire a lawyer, get a proper letter out, maybe threaten pre-suit arbitration or threaten a lawsuit if you want to stop this. And do I think you have a good shot at stopping it? Yeah, I think you do. So if you need our help off the air, just give us a call, 954-983-1112. Again, it's Glazer and Sachs, 954-983-1112, and we look forward to talking to you. Okay?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay.
I will give you a call tomorrow. Another quick question, that is almost end of the year, and we never had a budget meeting, and they never send us any, budget for the next year.
Well, okay, so that's potentially another problem that we got to put them on notice of, right? Because the budget has to go out annually. It's got to go out 14 days in advance of the meeting at which they're supposed to vote on it. So something's going wrong. We'll figure it out when you call, okay?
Yes. Thank you very much, and I will call you definitely
Thank
tomorrow.
you so much. Talk to you during the week.
Yes, thank you, Eric,
Okay.
and have a happy holiday.
You too.
Yes, thank you, and hi from Leonard. You know Leonard.
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Yes, I do. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Be well.
Bye-bye.
Okay, who else we got, Rob?
Bye.
All right, let's go to the next caller. Looks like Marie or Maria from Fort Lauderdale.
Marie or Maria?
Marie.
Marie, how are you, Marie?
I'm very good. Thank you, Mr. Glazer, for taking my call. Just to let you know, I did take your course in March, and I did go back in October for the continuing education.
Oh,
Very
great,
good
great.
information.
So let me ask you
Very
this.
good.
Hold on. I like to ask this question. Now that you've taken
Okay.
the course, and I fought my whole career to have education mandatory for condominium and HOA members, do you think that education should be mandatory if you want to be on a condo or HOA board?
Absolutely, because I have learned so much.
Are you a board member?
So much. Yes, I am.
You are. Good for you. Good for you. I'm glad you
Yes.
think so. How can I help you?
Yes. My question is this. I live in a condo. It's one building with 2 addresses. We have 16 security cameras, 8 on each side. Are unit owners allowed to put up their own surveillance cameras?
Are they allowed to put up their own surveillance camera? The question is, where do they want to put it?
Well, this owner put it on the wall. There was 2 of them, but we had 3 of them actually. We had 2 of them take them down. But this other owner
When
moved
you
it
say
from
the
wall
wall,
out to his
wait,
door.
hold on. What wall? What wall are you talking about?
Outside his door
Okay.
on the common area,
So-
above the
so-
door.
Above the door. So let me tell you what the arbitration cases have decided. I don't like it, quite frankly, but this is what they decided. There was a case where a unit owner removed their doorbell, and instead they put up a Ring doorbell, and they hardwired it into the electrical system for the building. And the arbitrator ruled that that was a material alteration because I think the majority of the opinion held that because they actually drilled holes and wired into the electronic or the electric portion of the building. So that was ruled to be a material alteration, and in order to do so, you needed to get 3/4 of the votes of the owners to do it. I don't like the decision, quite frankly. And what about if you remove the doorbell and you have a battery system and you don't wire in? The Ring doorbells can also be run by battery. That's also very common. So, I don't think it's a big deal if you did it. There's a lot of cases out there that go the other way, and they say the board should always be able to take advantage of technology without it being classified as a material alteration. Well, quite frankly, it should work the other way too, especially when it comes to security. So you should be able to put up a Ring doorbell, and it shouldn't be, considered a material alteration as far as I'm concerned.
I'll tell you what, if
Yeah,
I
but
put up
the
a doorbell and
condominium already has 16 cameras.
Right, exactly.
And he put this over his door, and we asked him to take it down, but now he put it on the door jamb.
Well,
This is a surveillance camera. It's not a Ring doorbell.
It's a surveillance camera. Oh, that's something totally different. Okay, maybe I didn't realize that. If it's a surveillance camera and it's on the side of his door, no question, to me, and it looks different from the outside, obviously, than any other door, then that alone makes it a material alteration, which would require a 3/4 vote of the unit owners, or maybe something different depending on what your documents say, but it's typically a 3/4 vote. So yes, it's a material alteration as far as I'm concerned. You need to take pictures of it, right? And you need to send them a letter that says it's a material alteration. If you don't take it down within, let's say, 10 days, we're going to be filing an action with the Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulation, an arbitration action. And if they don't take it down within that time, off to arbitration you go.
Well, we did send him the letter, and he did take it down from off the common area, but he now put it on the door jamb of his door.
Well, the door jamb of the door, the only thing that's allowed on the door jamb of a door are religious symbols, according to the Florida statute. So like Jewish people put up a mezuzah, for example. That's allowed. Surveillance cameras are not allowed.
what's it pointing at?
Okay.
Yeah, where does it go? In the hallway?
No, it's going into the parking lot. He has his vehicle parked in just about in front of his door, and he said somebody tried to damage the vehicle.
Right.
And we offered him for him to come into the office to look at our surveillance, system, and he refused. He went and put his own up. So we figure he's trying to keep an eye on his vehicle out there.
Well, I understand that, but as far as I'm concerned, you win. Okay.
Okay.
You can't put it on the side of the
Appreciate it.
door. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, it's probably a material alteration. Okay.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
16
Bye-bye.
cameras. That's a lot more than freaking Brown University had, isn't it, Robert?
That's right.
Can you imagine? They have like $7 billion in the bank, and there's no cameras. They could not find, this killer. Can you imagine? No cameras anywhere. And it's because, believe it or not to get all political here, it's, believe it or not, the kids were complaining that they want their safe spaces and they didn't want to be under police surveillance. So this is what you get. They listened to the kids and they took away safety, but they got their safe spaces, but that caused them to go days and days and days without catching a killer. But we can do a whole show on that. Let's take our bottom of the hour break. Taking your call, 717-452-9378. Again, 717-452-9378. Or drop us a comment or question in the chat box on YouTube. Don't wait for the last minute. It's our finale. We'll be back right after this.
In South Florida, the transition from bright sunshine to heavy rain and hurricanes can take a toll on your property's exterior and structural integrity. Cracked stucco, spalled concrete, they're more than eyesores. They can signal deeper issues. Now, with new Florida laws involving structural integrity requirements, we want to help you meet your milestone inspections and maintain the durability and beauty of your building. Since 2004, PD has been the trusted expert in structural concrete restoration, painting, and waterproofing for condominiums and commercial properties. Visit pd-concrete.com or call us today.
All over the world, people have plumbing problems. These problems can be expensive and destructive to fix. Have you ever wondered if there was a way to take care of your plumbing problems without destruction and an outrageous price tag? Welcome to Pipelining Technologies, Inc., where we specialize in fixing your problems without demolition and minimum cutting by means of pipelining. Pipelining is the ability to take a pipe damaged by root intrusion or long-term deterioration and make it new. By means of inserting an epoxy-saturated liner into the pipe and allowing it to harden or cure, leaving behind a brand new pipe.
That sounds great. How can I get pipelining in my home, commercial building, or condominium?
Simply fill out our online contact form and a pipelining representative will get in touch with you in a timely fashion, or call us directly at 561-853-5463.
Okay, welcome back to Condo Craze and HOAs. Again, it's our season finale, so Don't hold your calls for the last minute. If not, we'll speak to you in about 2-3 weeks. 717-452-9378. 717-452-9378, or drop us a question or comment in the chat box on YouTube. How about we go to the phone, Rob?
Yep, let's go to, looks like Sue from Hollywood.
How are
She
you,
wants
Sue?
to sue someone.
She wants to sue. It's a great name for an attorney. Sue, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
How can we help?
I have some questions regarding alternatives to snail mail. This includes things like sending out mandatory mailings regarding budgets, annual meetings, elections, amendments to bylaws, and so on. I want to know what we're allowed to do instead of using the mail in order to inform people.
So you can hand deliver notices to people, but that's sometimes difficult in a very large building. That's one way. The other way is for those people who elected to receive notice by email, you could send them the notices by email, but not everybody has done that. You can also have electronic voting, right, through use of a company, and the company lets people know that there's an election going on, or whatever it may be, or voting on amendments, and that company contacts people by email as well. So, it's not actually, they send it to them by email, but you wind up voting through their company's website. So that's the only ways that can speed things up, unless you want to spend a real lot of money and start sending everything to everybody by FedEx or something, or overnight mail.
No, definitely not. So, for example, if we're soliciting proxies regarding an amendment to the bylaws, we could do that by electing via electronic voting instead of requiring them to mail the proxies back or turn them in person.
But you ask a good question about proxies. So when it comes to proxies, and I'm not talking about ballots, I'm talking about proxies. Proxies can be sent out any which way. They can be returned any which way. So if someone gets a proxy and they fill it out, if it's emailed back, if it's faxed back, if it's texted back, any which way that the association comes into possession of that proxy, it has to count. So you don't have to wait for them to mail it back to you. You can get it back instantaneously, and it will count in the vote.
Wow, that would help a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but and that's for proxies only. And again, now we have new rules regarding elections as well. When, at least in condominiums, when you send out all this election package to everybody, let's say they live in Canada, right? And everybody's worried that then the Canadians are not going to be able to mail back everything in time. Well, two things: they could do it by overnight mail, number one, but number two, they can now vote by email. So if they want to send back their ballot by email, they can now do that in a condo association. So those are ways to deal with snail mail as well.
How do they do that? They take a picture of the proxy and send it? Or?
Yes, correct. They can take a picture of the proxy, send it. They could fax it back. Any which way that you can get it back to me, I have to count it. There's a statute on point. Okay, you must count it. And again, like I said, now we have the ability to vote in an election by email. Yes, you give up your right to privacy. That's true. But if you're worried about your ballot not getting back in time, you could email it back, and the association has to count it. So at least your vote is being counted. So there's ways, the law, as technology perhaps increases, we're learning how to deal with snail mail. We're giving people alternatives.
All right. Well, thank you. That's very, very helpful. And all of us here look forward to seeing you on February 3rd.
Thank you very much, and I look forward to it as well. Appreciate it. All right, who else we got, Rob?
Let's go to the next caller. Could be Juliet, Central Florida.
How are you, Juliet?
I'm fine. Thank you for all you do. Just want to follow up on the question someone asked about cameras.
Yes.
Is that for HOAs or just condos?
HOAs is totally different. HOAs, when it comes to putting cameras on the exterior of your house, you have to look in your governing documents. And your governing documents may or may not have something. I would say most of them do not. And remember that if the cameras can't be seen by anybody, then the association has no right to prevent it any longer. But it's totally different when it comes to HOAs, because HOAs, there is no material alteration statute, unlike condos. But there is sometimes language that says basically you can't put anything on the exterior of your home without the permission of the Architectural Review Board or without the permission of the Board of Directors itself. So you got to look at what your governing documents say, okay, before you
If not,
do
we have to
anything.
create we have to create a policy.
Correct,
No, I
right.
have a neighbor who has 7 cameras on a townhome on the front of his townhome.
And it may be perfectly legal. And I got news for you, that let's say there are no current rules or regulations or anything in your governing documents, and now you decide as a board or community to make them. Well, that person's grandfathered in. They're keeping their 7 cameras. Okay? Nothing you can do about it at this point.
Okay, so my question is, I just heard that while I was waiting.
Sure.
So my neighbor and her boyfriend / husband went to the management office to get some records, which they requested. When they went there, the manager said they were just going on and on, just all negative things about me, the board member, and, the community went on. And she just tried to be like very neutral, like, oh yeah, HOAs, you have to go with such and such covenants. And then the boyfriend / husband used these words. He says, Juliet, the board president does not like my truck, but we'll see how much she doesn't like it when I drive it through her house. After that, the cam is very uncomfortable, so she asked them to go get a USB to put the information on, because they were going to be there for 2 or 3 hours, and she reported it back to me. She just wanted me to be aware. I'm just waiting on next week to find out how this can be done, but I'm just asking you, is this anything that I can do about this? Because
What
the
did
truck
he
is
say?
in front of my house.
Oh, he parked it deliberately in front of your home?
But it's in front of my house. And he said, the police said that he's parked legally there, but he is blocking a little piece of my driveway. So it's hard for me to make a left into my driveway. I basically have to make a right, and when you're getting out, it is. But it's, we're trying to change some stuff here or whatever. But in the meantime, with that, what he said, Julian, the board president, does not like my truck, but we'll see how much she doesn't like it when I drive it through her house.
Drive it to her house, or drive it? Hold on. Drive it
when I drive it through her house.
Okay, when I drive it through her house, that's a little different. So, why don't you? You can call the police and say, look, 2 things. Number 1, he's blocking part of my driveway. Number 2, he threatened to drive his car through my house, and maybe they will simply contact him and say, look, park your car someplace else, to avoid a big fight.
Well, I did yesterday, because I found, since I heard this, I just became scared. So I just go to my daughter's house every day, just because, I live alone and I don't know. I cannot say, like, if you said something, I might say, no, Eric was just in a bad mood, but I cannot say this to this guy with the things that he's done. And the police basically said that that's like third hand, even though she wrote a report on it, because she had to, give that to her DCAM. And the police went over to talk to him, and right away he said he never made a comment like that. And he said the police told him he was parked legally here, that he didn't have to move his vehicle the way his vehicle is parked. So the officer suggested to him, because that's what the officer could suggest to him, can you move it like just 6 inches? Because I could see how hard it is for her to get in and out of her driveway. But he didn't move it. So next week I'm going to try to call the traffic department and see. But in the meantime, like that threat, we know what's going on in the country, and we don't take threats seriously. We could just brush it off. Like, how is he going to drive the truck into my house?
Right. I mean,
but I cannot say.
I don't take that as a, that's me. I don't take it as a valid threat. But eventually he's going to move his car, right? I mean, eventually he's going to move it, I take it. And when he does.
Well, it sits there for months at a time. Yeah.
Oh, really?
For months at a time. Yeah.
Really? Well, I don't know what to say other than I'd wait for him to move it and then put my car in its place. And see what happens. Or ask a friend to put their car in its place. Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult for me to say anything. But
right, I was just concerned about what he said.
But I don't think he's going to drive his car through your house. People don't make threats like that; they just do it. You know what I mean? So I would sleep well. I don't think anything's going to happen. It's just someone who's a bully. Okay?
Sounds like he cares about his
Thank
car.
you
Why
so
would
much.
he-
Have a good
Right,
holiday.
exactly.
season.
You
Thank
too. Be
Eric.
well. Oh, man, do
bye-bye.
I know how we'd handle that in Brooklyn. Do I know how we handle that in Brooklyn? Let's just say there'd be pieces of that car missing and a lot of keys used on it. Let's just leave it at that. And on that note, let's take our final break of the hour. Taking your calls, 717-452-9378, 717-452-9378. Back right after this.
We are DMI Paving and Seal Coating, Florida's parking lot experts. We specialize in asphalt paving and repair, including pothole repair, seal coating using JC7 or polytar, concrete curbs, ramps, and walkways, and striping and pavement marking, as well as ADA compliance. We service commercial properties, including homeowners associations, apartment communities, shopping malls, warehouses, stadiums and arenas, and more. Experience is worth more than anything in an industry like ours, and our staff has decades of it. We have specialized equipment for any job, regardless of size, saving you time and money. DMI has a reputable history. We have been in business since 1956. We serve the state of Florida from 6 locations. Let us bid on your next parking lot project. Visit us online at dmipavingandsealcoating.com.
Hey, welcome back to the final segment of Condo Craze and HOAs. Missing Karen Curtis today. She started vacation a little week early. This is our final segment in our finale episode, so don't wait till the last minute for your call, 717-452-9378. Or a lot of interesting comments and questions in the chat box, Rob, right? Who do we got?
That's right. Let's see. Lori Kenny says, if I wear a shirt that says vote for me and walk around our condo property, is that considered advertising?
No, nothing wrong with that. You can absolutely, you want to use the term advertise, fine. Or what's the word I'm looking for? Promote yourself, or, you know, no problem with that. Nobody can stop you from doing that. Nobody can make you take off your shirt, no matter how hard they ask you. So, no, you can wear your shirt and you can say vote for me. No problem. You're good, Laurie. Don't worry about it. Okay, who else we got?
And that falls under the freedom of speech, right?
Of course, of course.
Let's see. What if the condo association is small and does not have a website?
Okay, so big changes this year, right? Remember when we started this? So I was always in favor of a website for associations when websites were even, you know, kind of first starting out. And the former Speaker of the House at that time filed a bill, and the bill would have required condominium associations to have a website if there were 500 or more units in the condominium. So I flew up to Tallahassee at the time, this is a long time ago, and I met with the then Speaker of the House and said, your bill is meaningless because less than 1% of condos in Florida have 500 or more units. So I said, how about we compromise and how about we make it 50 units? So if a condo has 50 units, you need a website. And we ultimately settled on 150 units. Well, the idea for having a website was apparently so good that it's now not 150 any longer. It's now 25 units, believe it or not. And that goes into effect next week. So I think having a website is a wonderful thing. You know, what if the condo is small and has no website? I got to tell you, there's not many smaller than 25 at this point. So almost every condo in the state of Florida is going to have a website. And I, for one, I'm glad I pushed it way back when, and I'm glad to see where we're at. Who else we got?
Let's take a call from Joanne.
Hey, Joanne.
Hello, Eric. Thank you for everything that you do.
Thank you so much.
I'm a large 3,400 property HOA
Whoa.
Community, and we lease our community center, and we only lease portion of the community center. We have public restaurants, a church, and some other businesses in the same facility. So it's not a private lease of the facility. We have a community center. committee
I can't hear.
that you can't hear?
Whoop.
Can you hear me now?
You kept breaking up, but give it a shot again.
Okay.
Yeah, Rob, I can't hear.
Okay, hang on.
Let's do this. Let's take a 2-second break. We're going to keep you on hold. We're going to fix the problem.
Okay.
So just hang in there, okay?
Okay.
What do you say,
thank you.
Rob?
We are DMI Paving and Seal Coating, Florida's parking lot experts. We specialize in asphalt paving and repair, including pothole repair, seal coating using JC7 or polytar, concrete curbs, ramps, and walkways, and striping and pavement marking, as well as ADA compliance. We service commercial properties, including homeowners associations, apartment communities, shopping malls, warehouses, stadiums and arenas, and more. Experience is worth more than anything in an industry like ours, and our staff has decades of it. We have specialized equipment for any job, regardless of size, saving you time and money. DMI has a reputable history. We
in the building.
Don't kill me. Don't kill me. We just cut right back in. You're going to have to start one more time. I so apologize. Go ahead.
Okay. A large HOA, Property Owners Association,
Yes.
3,400 properties, and we lease our community center, but it's not a private lease of the building. There are other public commercial businesses in the same facility, a church, a restaurant, and some other things. And we have a community center committee that has started putting on monthly gatherings for the community. Sometimes it's inside, sometimes it's outside in the parking lot. There is no barrier to keep the public out of our private areas even. And the community center, our documents say that all funds must be spent on our common properties. So the community center committee has started accepting donations and selling things for fundraisers to be able to put these events on without turning the money into the general fund and without being authorized by the POA board of directors.
Right.
Do you see any problems with that?
Needless to say, there's a lot of complicated things you said in there. Sometimes it's very difficult for me to answer a question without seeing your governing documents. But if your governing documents specifically say that all the income that's coming in needs to be spent on the community, itself, and you don't believe that that's happening, then obviously that's a violation of the governing documents. If the documents say that you can't create other events that are not specifically already authorized, that seems like a violation of the governing documents. So yes, it seems like there may be violations here. What the question is, what does the attorney for the POA actually think? Has there been an opinion in that regard?
Absolutely not, because the chair of the committee is a director, and the board thinks it's just fine. My primary concern, they're not spending any funds. That's why they're selling things and taking donations, because they're not spending any of our POA funds to avoid that. I mean, it's been long understood that we can't have social events because of the way our documents are written.
Right.
It's been long understood.
So they're allowed to take in all this money from, let's say, rents, but they're not allowed to take in any money from creating their own social events. Is that what you're saying?
Well, and that is part of the question. The problem is they're, they can't commingle it with the POA funds because then they couldn't spend any of it.
Yeah, it's difficult. Again, I apologize. Sometimes it's very difficult for me to answer a question without actually seeing your documents. Seems like this might require a very technical answer and a very thorough review of your POA documents, and that's something that we can't do. So I don't know if we can give an intelligent answer, and that might require, a telephone call off the air. Okay.
Okay.
So,
and my primary concern is that they're not sanctioned by the board of directors if somebody gets injured or
right. It's just being done by a committee. I get that. There probably are, because committee members are also covered by insurance. So that is one answer that we can give everybody out there. As long as people are on a committee members are covered by insurance if they do something wrong. Okay. Let me ask you
Okay,
this:
but I'm talking about the
um,
public gets injured, not the
yes.
committee member.
No, I understand, but for things that the committee members do, there should be
Okay.
insurance. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, question
Okay,
for you:
great.
Did you
That's
say
helpful.
you're in a 3,400 community HOA?
Yes, sir.
So that's interesting because the new law, the new education law, says that if you're 2,500 units or less, you only have to do 4 hours of continuing education a year. If you're in a community with 2,500 or more, you have to do 8 hours of continuing education every year. And every time I teach the class, I'm like, how many of you are from HOA with more than 2,500 units? And nobody raises their hand. So it's very rare to be in a community that large.
And it's hard now to get the 8 hours because there's very few certified courses.
Yes.
I mean, the 4 hours for the annual board is part of it, but then finding 4 different hours.
Right.
I mean, it
After that is
been
hard.
difficult.
I agree. And I don't doubt that. That is hard. And you got to look around. You got to look around. I agree. Maybe the DBPR offers something, but probably not because the DBPR doesn't really regulate HOAs. So you got to keep an eye out there. Maybe you'll run into something. Okay. Thank you so much for the call.
Thank you so much.
You got it. Who
You
else
have a
we
good
got,
day.
Rob? You too.
Goodbye.
Let's go to. There's a question about how does someone find out the certificate? How do you find out if a board member has a certification?
So those certificates that I hand out, for example, after somebody takes the course, and I tell everybody this, that is an official record of your association. You are allowed to make a request in writing to get copies of those documents, of those certifications. Look like, a certificate. It looks like a diploma, right? And you get it at the end of the seminar if you, in fact, have taken it. If you're if you're a unit owner, you have the right to get a copy of it. So make your request for it, and it's got to be given to you within 5 working days. And if they don't, you have all the other options like arbitration. But that's how you find out if your board members are, in fact, certified. Ask for a copy of the certificate itself. Okay? Anybody else, Rob?
Yep. Let's take a call from Amy in Miami Beach.
How are you, Amy?
Hey, how are you?
Okay, how can we help?
Well, thanks for taking my call. Okay, so I'm the president of a small condo,
Sure.
30 units less, 2-story, and we have always had a no pet policy. But obviously now with the emotional support and the service animals, you have to allow them to come in.
Yep.
So we have 2 dogs, and then we have people now that are certifying cats. You can just get that online, a certification. So that's fine. If we have to, we have to. But now one of these cat owners is opening their door and allowing the cat to go through our common area into our flower beds and landscaping and just roam around the parking lot. He keeps the door cracked a little so the cat can come in and out. And then I told him, no, you can't do that. That's our common areas. I can't do anything about you having the cat. So you're allowed to keep the cat, but this is not a pet-friendly community. And therefore, you can't just allow the cat to run around our grounds. And then he started having this emotional thing saying, well, I have a support and I can't handle anxiety and this is what we're doing. And I have the door open and I'm always watching him. And what about this guy that has the dog and it stinks and he does the wash with the dog blanket and there's hairs in there. And he starts attacking everybody else. So what can I do? Management has sent emails and letters to him. And then I've spoken to him about it.
So first thing you're going to do, you're going to make sure that you have the evidence to back up what you're saying, all right? So you're going to take pictures, you're going to take video, you're going to date it. So if you did have to go in front of an arbitrator or did have to go to court, just think about it. Think about the fact that you're going to have to prove your case, right? It can't just be your word against his. So you're going to have the evidence to back up what you're saying. Now let's assume you have the evidence to back up what you're saying. We're going to send this guy a letter that says, although we don't question your right to have an emotional support animal, you cannot allow your emotional support animal to roam through the community. So
And this is a renter. This isn't even an owner.
Really?
The
Okay.
owner who also lives on property doesn't see anything wrong with it. So
Well-
she's, even though she's been violated, she's, you know, not done anything to enforce it.
Understood.
Because he's not doing anything wrong.
Well, he is. So you're going to send that letter out, and you're going to say, if you do not prevent your animal from roaming the community within the next 10 days, the next step we're going to do is file an arbitration action against you to remove your cat. Okay, so hopefully this,
I like that.
this isn't necessary. And if
And that
af-
has to come from an attorney, or can it come from the management company?
Management companies shouldn't be writing legal letters. They're not allowed to do that. They shouldn't be practicing law. So the only thing that I can tell you, I'm not trying to sell attorney services, but they shouldn't be writing pre-arbitration demand letters. And as a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure there's a Supreme Court case out there that said that they're not allowed to write pre-arbitration demand letters. That should be done by an attorney. So,
And it goes to the renter or the owner, or
it goes
both?
to the renter. All right, you're gonna let the, and you can send copy the owner, but you're gonna send it to the renter and say, if you don't prevent your animal from roaming the community, we're gonna be filing an action against you to remove your cat, regardless of whether or not you believe it's an emotional support animal. It can't roam the community. And if they think you're bluffing, or if they think that their rights are gonna be superior to yours, that's gonna be a bad move on their part, because that animal is going to be ordered either to stay inside, or the owner and the animal is going to have to leave the property together. And you're going to get your attorney's fees as well when you win.
Oh, I like that.
Yes. Okay.
On the same note, one of the ones with the dog, when that dog dies
Yes.
and they get another dog, is that allowed?
If
Because
if the dog is going to be another emotional support animal, then the answer is yes.
which needs another certificate.
Well, they already have a certificate that they need a dog for emotional support. So I think if the first dog dies, I don't even know if they'd need another letter. I think they'd be fine not getting a letter.
Well, it's only a certificate you get online. that
No,
says,
not
"Oh, this is
necessarily
just-"
true. You can't do that anymore.
Oh, we
You
can't?
can't do that anymore. Florida tightened that up. There's a whole bunch of new laws regarding how people can get these letters, and it's not so simple anymore. It's not just a matter of going online and filling out the form and paying $29.99 and having a letter print out. You actually have to speak to a doctor. The doctor has to be located within the state of Florida. I don't have all the
But
rules
not a
in front of
P.O.
me.
box, because I've seen letters with P.O.
Correct.
boxes
No,
only.
no more of that. It's a lot more. It's a lot more difficult. It's not a perfect system, but it's a lot more difficult than it was. Okay.
Oh,
so
yay.
you don't have to accept those letters any longer. Okay.
Oh, I'm so excited. Those
Okay.
are good answers. Thank you,
Thanks
Eric.
for the call. You have a great holiday.
Thank you.
Okay.
Happy Hanukkah.
All right. Let's take our last call of the day, Rob.
All right. Just a quick question. Does the mandatory websites apply to co-ops?
Yeah, I believe it does. Absolutely. Yeah. Co-ops as well. It does.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So to our last caller of the year, Kathleen from Hallandale.
Hey, Kathleen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have a question in reference to I live in a co-op, and we had put in an insurance claim in a few years back, and we received about $400,000. And the board split that and gave us back some monies, and then they kept the other monies into an account. It wasn't like a reserve at that time because we didn't have to have the reserves at that time. And then recently, they also just received $6,000 back from our insurance this year that we overpaid. And they didn't tell us, but they've been using this money to spend money on the building, but not letting us know about it until I asked. Is this legal, illegal, or?
So they got back this money and they needed to make repairs for the building. Let's say they gave it to you back, right? And then they still needed to make repairs for the building. So they would have hit you with what, a $6,000 special assessment? So does it really matter? You know, so they didn't give it to you back, but they used it to spend on the building. So, you know, what's really the difference? Why should that bother anybody? It's not like they took it and they made a party with it, or it's not like they took it and kept it for themselves. If they gave it back to you, then ultimately at some point they would have had to ask you for it again. So they,
okay, you know what they did? They gave us, so it was $400,000. They took 200 and gave us all monies back, and then kept the other $200,000 in the bank.
well, if
which is
right, if that was used, if that $200,000 was used,
it wasn't used.
No, I'm saying what if it was there to maybe offset what your assessments would be going forward, then I don't have a problem with it. If they should they have told you about it, absolutely, no two ways about it. They should have told you. Okay.
And then recently, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
And then recently this year, we just got back a $6,000.
Right.
Because we overpaid.
Right, and that's fine that they kept it and they spent it on the building. I have no problem with that. Okay.
Okay, I just wanted to double check.
You got it. Okay.
One more question, if it's possible. If we have somebody working in our office, and somebody like a neighbor passes away, and the children want to sell the apartment because it's over 55, and she gets involved in selling these apartments and then selling them for way lower than they should be going for.
No, I don't know how you say someone working in the office and getting involved in it. Is that person a realtor?
She says she's a realtor, but she knows she's the one who handles all our finances and what goes on in everybody's life about their finances.
Okay, so I get these questions all the time. For example, we have a realtor in the community, and the realtor wants to run for the board of directors. Can a realtor be on the board? Yes, a realtor can be on the board. If that realtor is on the board, can that realtor also have listings for condominiums or co-ops in the building? Yes, they can. Nothing illegal about it. However, if the board has to approve that sale, right? That member of the board, because they're a broker or they're going to make money on that sale, needless to say, that person cannot vote in approving or denying that sale because they have a clear conflict of interest. Okay, as long as they walk away from it and don't vote on the matter, nothing wrong with them having the listing, nothing wrong with them being on the board. Okay? And on that note, ladies,
she's not on the board. She works.
I understand she works on the office. That's even more reason why it's not a big deal. Okay?
Okay.
You got it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
You got it.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, same to you. All right, Rob, that brings us to the end of 2025. What a year, right? It's been a lot of fun. Rob, thank you so much for all you do. Karen, you're not here, but Karen, I'm thanking you for all that you do. It's been a lot of fun. Rob, look how nice you made this place over the past year. It looks great. I hope everybody that's watching and listening appreciates it, because we appreciate all of you every Sunday. Like I said, we're going to be off for the next 2 weeks. But when we come back, we have a lot of interesting, fun things lined up for 2026. Rob is going to be busy setting up lots of guests and lots of fun stuff. So we look forward to seeing you after the holidays. We wish all of you a Merry Christmas and a very happy and healthy New Year. And we'll see you in 2 weeks on Condo Craze and HOAs. Everybody be well, be safe.